Hi. So, how do I look for a Vietnamese restaurant? Let's talk about it. It has been a minute. In many ways, I am very excited to do another video for this channel. God, it's been a whole year, huh? So to celebrate the occasion, I will show you what a flawed process that I voluntarily put myself into in order to find the next Vietnamese restaurant in New York City. Finding one is easy, but finding one that is worth visiting, that's another story. Now, trying a new restaurant is like trying on new trousers. You can get a good look at them online, flipping through the photos, going over all the measurements and numbers. You can even look at the videos of other people trying them on before making the decision, but nothing compares to trying them on yourself. So this video is all about trying those trousers. This video is about sizing up a restaurant with all the flaws and biases I can throw at it. Now, anybody can do this. You probably do this every Wednesday and Thursday, sitting at work, trying to looking for something for the weekend. So as with any of my other videos, here are my biases. And let's do this one. As to not flame any restaurant in the immediate area, let's just pick something completely randos. London. I've never been to the city, let alone any of these restaurants. What do I look for? So number one, the only thing I have access right now is the menu. The menu is the restaurant's resume, their LinkedIn page, their one elevator pitch, their first chance, if not the only chance, to convince you to spend the money. That's the immediate intent. Now, on the side note, the menu has to have both languages on, period. I'm not gonna even argue this point. It's just plain stupid and frankly insulting to have one or the other language on the menu, especially just the Vietnamese. On the other side of the note, the menu also reflects the business model, their understanding of the immediate surroundings, their local palate, as well as local financial appetite. At least from the Western understanding, Vietnam is really well known for three things. It's the war, pho, and banh mi. In any conventional sense, you can't really package war as a culinary theme. Going with that logic, so let's look at pho first. As discussed exhaustively in my pho video, I'll link it over here somewhere. A Viet restaurant will either do northern pho or southern pho, or both. Now, ideally, I want them to stick to one. Doing both raises more red flags than doing neither. If you're gonna do northern pho, as for the northern boy like me, I expect certain things. I can wax lyrical about this topic all day, so I'm gonna shut up and urge you to check my northern pho versus southern pho video. Next, if you're gonna do banh mi, it is really a free-for-all subject. Banh mi is essentially just a sandwich. As long as you take care of the bread and the meat, the rest can be as creative as you want. The banh mi, which is the baguette, has this very iconic shape. The baguette is airy. It's actually very hard to get this done right because it's just so poor historically, yet become so hardwired of a memory for me. So I have to adjust my expectation in the Western settings. Disclosure, so far after 45 restaurants in New York City, I can only find one joint that has this poor baguette, and it's Ba Xuyen at Sunset Park. The biggest green flag for the banh mi vendor is that they offer pate. Whether you like it or not, it's an entire different conversation, but pate has to be on the offer. No exception. The French left us the baguette and the pate. They left us two things. among other things. Second offering is lap suan, which is Chinese sausage. Okay, the French didn't leave us this one, I think the Chinese did. Although looking for banh mi, it's just not something I do excessively as many Americans do. So my standard for banh mi is very, very low, as it should be. Because to be honest, being in New York for so many years and looking from the outside, New Yorkers or Americans in general take the sandwich way too seriously. Sandwich should be something you eat when you can't figure out another plan for your meal. It's quick and you really shouldn't go out your way to seek out an amazing one. My favorite banh mi is this abomination right here. There were certain moments in my 12 years of school in the Vietnamese educational system. All my classes didn't start until 12 p.m. Therefore, the situation presented itself. One, I got to sleep past 7 a.m. because I have no morning classes. So by the time I get up, which probably around 10 to 10:30, all the banh mi joints are already wrapped for the day. So I end up with stuff like this: a baguette with pate, hot sauce, and pork floss. The baguette is already stale and needs a reheat on a cast iron. This effectively fuses all the ingredients together because I would have to smash it flat, and it provides you with 5 heavenly delicious bites. So that's as far as a sandwich should take you, something in a hurry and last resort. So for the purpose of going blindly into a restaurant, what should you expect? A baguette, ideally to look like this. If not, it should be on the airy side, not the doughy side. If you're presented with the possibility of a doughy bread, then make sure that to get a sandwich that is incredibly saucy and juicy to soak through all that dough. Second is the fillings. Pate takes the crown and is essential to any banh mi. If you want nothing to do with that spread, then make sure that it is still a prominent option on the menu. Greens, sliced or stripped cucumbers and pickled carrots, cilantro from time to time, but that's really up to the joint. Pork floss to finish everything. If they have shrimp floss, that's a giant, huge green flag and almost runs out immediately. And that is really. Banh mi has always been a mascot for Vietnamese college students. It appears in many Vietnamese movies and television shows to depict a hard and frugal life. It feeds students through tough time and it remains the symbol of affordability and simplicity. As a result, the best of them all should be the most simple. Yet, presenting the banh mi in the purest form is deceivingly difficult. It requires all your base ingredients to be expertly done and curated. Just like a plain slice of cheese pizza, it requires a very specific level of restraint to not overload it, like a Domino $9.99 medium special. If you treat this like a slice of pizza, it will all make sense. So with 2 heavy hitters out of the way, we go on to the other specific criteria. After years and dozens of restaurants in New York City, I had come to accept certain realities. First is that I will never truly get the real deal. This is not the motherland. People make things differently here, and people's palates also differs here. Even passing through all the human factors, the ingredients are the next thing to differ. Different water, different soil, different climate. You can import bits and pieces from the outside. You can get very, very close to the real thing, but you will never get the real thing. It's like drinking Diet Coke. I gave up on that pipe dream. Things are always going to be different, and this is the bubble I created for myself. I'm sure I'll be devastated once this bubble bursts, meaning if a new restaurant or new city can disapprove this theory. The second thing is local palate actually shape a Vietnamese restaurant more often than I anticipated. Unlike a Vietnamese restaurant in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, your customers are not 80% or 90% Viet. You are catering to a different palate, a local palate. Going to different subreddits, I see the same strategy adopted, for example, in Paris, where local palate is much milder and compared to American and Vietnamese counterparts. Third thing, because of lack of competition and with an audience that arguably less knowledge about the cuisine, a Viet restaurant will shroud the entire menu with different types of dishes, all in one single menu. So the local don't give a fuck if you're gonna serve pho and bún bò Huế or fried rice on the same menu, because there don't exist 10 other Vietnamese restaurants right next to yours on the same block trying to cook the same thing. Therefore, jack of all trade is the name of the game, and that often omits the needs for mastery any specific offering like a traditional joint. So beyond this point, it's all about making selective compromises. The very first things I'm looking for is a relatively small menu. It shows restraint, focus, and it has always been a hard thing to do since any cook that gets exposed to this cuisine can gain a huge repertoire almost immediately. This is due to the nature of the cuisine. Cooking with very simple ingredients, handful of greens, herbs, and protein can sprout out thousands of recipes. A small menu mitigates bloating, a symptom that is typical of an old Vietnamese restaurant. A small menu over a large menu. Second criteria is looking for a very specific dish. This is often how I find a proper new restaurant to try it on. I'll pick an oddly specific dish that I know without question is ubiquitous on a Vietnamese family dinner tray, yet almost never show up on the Vietnamese restaurant menus in the West. The reason is rooted in the context. Most Vietnamese restaurants abroad build their identity around the dishes people eat outside their home. And in Vietnam, we typically eat out for 1 or 2 meals a day. It's either breakfast or lunch, which is why pho, bún, xôi become dominant going out foods. And when brought to the West, these dishes were lifted straight out of that context and introduced into an entire new audience. So typical Vietnamese restaurant will end up functioning like a greatest hit. To go against the grain, I would seek out certain dishes or ingredients like rau muống or lạp xương or thịt kho tàu and so on. I try to snip out one by one. The restaurant that tends to make these seemingly obscure dishes are my best chance to find a good restaurant, or at the very least, an exciting one. This is incredibly subjective and very nuances. Alcohol beverages. If 333, Hanoi beer, Saigon beer are on the offerings, you're in good hand. If Huda beer is on the menu, that's a huge bonus. And if they have a bar or a liquor license, I would be more and more skeptical. This is just my experience, so it is very subjective, but it's been working a treat for me. The liquor license only works if it's on a higher end side of thing. This spoon right here, spoon no left. I can't begin to explain why this is significant, so just if you see this spoon, that's a good sign. To put as a bonus, if you see this chair, if you see this plastic container for chopstick, or this thing, or this thing, or this thing, these are all good signs. These are all part of the charms and parts of the fun. The fifth thing, last and not least, is to consult your local subreddit. Opinions are all over the place, and that's what I want always, opinions and lots of it. I need the data. I already done this for London extensively, and it worked wonderfully. People don't just say their favorite spot, but also their reason and biases behind it. I present my top pick for Vietnamese restaurant in London, just purely based on speculation and online research, which consists of Reddit, Google reviews, and photos. If opportunity arises one day, I will visit London and will give this list a proper run for its money. Or in this case, my money. I would love to talk more about these restaurants, but I shouldn't pass along judgment until I actually try them. Here's the list again, and I see you in the next video.